Mr. President, and your dear wife, visiting presidents, former presidents, and former head of state, and gentlemen, it is with happiness that I review this book, written by the renowned biographer of the late premier of the defunct Northern region, who was also the leader of the defunct Northern People's Congress, the Sadwanan Sokoto Sir Ahmadu Bello. Professor John Pardon chose a very prominent personality as the subject for his authorized biography. President Muhammadu Buhari has shown great love for our country, both as a general and later as an elected president. He never allowed either a foreign army or insurgents to take control of any part of our dear country. As a general officer commanding the 3rd Armored Division of the Nigerian Army in Jos, he moved with speed to recover Nigerian territory around Lake Chad area that had been briefly occupied by foreign troops. Also, as president, he wasted no time to defeat and subdue the Boko Haram insurgents, such that our fellow Nigerians who had lived in internally displaced persons camps, both within and outside our country, are gradually returning to their homes, which were earlier occupied by the insurgents. I am happy to review this book because it tells the story of a man for most of his adult life occupied positions of influence and power, but chose to use his influence for the common good rather than for self. He never hesitated to make personal sacrifice for the good of the community. He is a very intelligent man with a sharp mind who may not want to speak often, but has great insight of events and situations. When in July 2014, while he traveled on the Kano Road, an attempt was made on his life by exploding a roadside bomb, he did not lose focus, as his courage guided him to think more of the things he wanted to do for the peace and prosperity of our dear nation. All these help make him a unique and a historic personality, loved by many, particularly the ordinary people. As a soldier, he remained the only person at that time who commanded 3 of the then 4 army divisions in the country. He is one of 2 Nigerians out of more than 180 million people who served as both a military head of state and an elected president of Nigeria. He is the only person ever in our history to have contested election for president on the platform of an opposition political party and succeeded in defeating an incumbent president who ran for re-election on the platform of a governing political party that produced 3 presidents for the country. He is also the only president elected into office by the people whose major opponent in the election telephoned to congratulate him, and there was no court case to determine the outcome of the election. It is very significant that he is the only president in the history of Africa who came to power as a result of the successful merger of major opposition political parties. The book has 320 pages. It is presented in 3 parts, each consisting of 8 chapters, with a total of 24 chapters. It has 11 maps and 1 graph. It has a total of 46 photographs and an index. It is published by Huda Publishing Company. The foreword, written by General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma, a former Chief of Staff of the Nigerian Army and Minister of Defense of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He says that, I quote, "In the course of his brilliant military career, Muhammadu earned a reputation as an officer of great personal discipline, competence and valor, driven by a deep sense of patriotism and an abiding concern of the welfare of his troops," unquote. He went further to say, I quote again, "It is now evident that these qualities have helped him enormously, sharpening his capacity to adapt to the needs of his country and to make a seamless transition from an autocratic leader to a democratic one," unquote. The author tells a fascinating and an engaging story of Muhammadu Buhari from birth to his present position as an elected president of Nigeria. He was born on December 17, 1942 in Daura, one of the most ancient of the Habe states, as the 23rd child of his father, Adamu, who had 3 wives, and also as the youngest of the 6 children of his mother, Zulehat. His father was a Fulani, while the mother was a Kanuri. So you can see that our president is a crossbreed. The father died when he was only 4 years old and had to be raised by his mother. This would have created serious problems for many children at that age, but rather, young Muhammadu Buhari sharpened his survival instincts and embraced values that helped him to overcome the challenges of not benefiting from the at such a tender age. Some of the values include teamwork, bonding with peers, honor and integrity, hard work, duty, and especially honesty. Young Muhammadu had great love for nature and the outdoors. This made science courses more interesting to him. No wonder President Buhari shows a lot of interest in the affairs of the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, of which I am a minister. It is likely that he got his love of the outdoors and nature from his father, who settled on a family farm with an extensive livestock, especially cattle, sheep, and goats. It is also likely that he got his outstanding leadership qualities from his great-grandfather, Yusuf, who was the founder and chief of several settlements, including Dumukor, Buhari's father's village. It is not surprising that in his secondary school he was at different times class monitor, house prefect, house captain, and finally the head boy of the school. In the military, he commanded 3 of the 4 army divisions. When the military ventured into politics at different times, he served as military governor, Minister of Petroleum Resources, and military head of state. When General Sani Abacha was military head of state, he was called upon to offer leadership as the executive chairman of the Petroleum Trust Fund. Today, he is an elected president of Nigeria. In secondary school, he became involved in cross-country running, in which persistence and endurance were key. This must have prepared him for the several months he spent in different courts. The Court of Appeal, where he unsuccessfully, in 3 different occasions, challenged the outcome of the presidential election of 2003, 2007, and 2011. And yet, he did not lose confidence in the system. As he was about finishing his secondary school education, he considered becoming a medical doctor, but fate thought otherwise. I imagine with the eye of my mind looking at the president in a long white overcoat with stethoscope hanging on his neck and white gloves on his hands, examining patients in a hospital. Today, he is still a medical doctor, examining a nation and prescribing solutions. As a military head of state at a relatively young age, he pursued policies aimed at inculcating discipline and maintaining law and order in society by improving ethical standards in government. The author described him as, I quote, a young man in a hurry, unquote, and the period as Baba go fast. This is in contrast with Baba Go Slow, a nickname in his style of administration as an elected president. The author further explained that, I quote, this shift to a slower pace was not just a matter of getting older. It was a deliberate tactic to achieve his strategic goals. The author shows clearly that Muhammadu Buhari is a man of great faith, always leaving God to determine his journey of life. Faith has often guided him. When he was released from a 3-year detention in which he spent most of his time in Benin City, his earlier feeling was to live a quiet life with his family. But faith decided otherwise. Hence, in April 2002, he decided to join partisan politics. He declared and became a member of the All Nigeria People's Party, the then second largest political party and the largest opposition political party in the country, a political party which I later was elected its national chairman. The AMPP provided its platform on 2 occasions, in 2003 and 2007, for him to run for president as the presidential candidate of the party. Also, after 3 unsuccessful attempts in 2003, 2007, and 2011 at becoming president, he initially decided to leave partisan politics. But fate again thought otherwise. He succeeded in his 4th attempt in 2015. This shows clearly that with patience and perseverance, what may appear impossible can be realized. So also we will overcome our present challenges and difficulties as a nation under his leadership. On assumption of office as president, he became the chief diplomat of the nation, both in words and in action. He traveled to many countries. Our image in the world has improved considerably. The fight against Boko Haram was given top priority. The result is very satisfactory. The fight against corruption is intense, vigorous, and ongoing, with remarkable achievements. He took over at the time that the expectations of the people were very high, yet at the same time the revenue into the treasury declined considerably, the lowest in many years. Notwithstanding these challenges, he is working to rebuild and modernize infrastructure, out reforms, strengthen institutions, and diversify the economy. He recognizes the need to, quote, support indigenous entrepreneurs, unquote, and ensure that science and technology plays its rightful role in the job and wealth creation, restoration of national pride, poverty reduction, and promoting economic diversification that is sustainable, inclusive, and competitive. This book is important and should be read by both Nigerians and members of the international community. President Muhammadu Buhari is not only the president of Nigeria, he is an international figure respected by many people in different parts of the world. He is working hard for the happiness of the Nigerian people and the peace of the world. Thank you so much.